Marjorie and I like to hang out a little bit after our remarks just to bring you inside the House Republican Conference and to let you understand what we face up there in the swamp of Washington. And, you know, Marjorie, you have taken incoming smears, lies, like almost no member of Congress ever, and you are still so determined. You go out on the floor every day, you find the unsavory parts of legislation, you demand votes, and coming here and spending time with your people in Georgia, I feel the positivity that you must really rely on to do those things. And so I guess I just wanted you to share a little bit from your heart about how you're able to stay so focused and so effective given the unprecedented attacks that the media brings against you.
Thank you, Matt. Well, how I'm able to stay focused is you see all these people right here, these wonderful people. It's really because I'm one of them, and I never wanted to run for Congress, and I really believe that Congress is failing our country, and I know that we have to fight for it. And so I know that representing the people and saying what people say at home is something that the swamp doesn't like, and it's something that the woke media doesn't like, and it's something that the Democrats really don't like. But you know what else, Matt? And you know this really well. It's something that the establishment doesn't like. And I got to tell you guys, and Matt, I am so lucky to serve with this guy right here. And we are the most hated and most talked about and most attacked members of Congress. Yeah, public enemy number one. That's right. And but I'm lucky because Matt and I, guess what? We don't really care, do we?
Hey, we figure if they're not attacking us, we probably aren't doing our job for the American people. I want to share with you the first real business meeting I had with your congresswoman. She'd been there for about 3 or 4 days, and with no appointment, barges into my office, sits down, and says, Matt, I have had enough of this. I run a business where we look at the tasks that are necessary, we assign people to those tasks, we expect results, and that's how we accomplish our objective. And she said, why don't we do that in Congress? And I said, well, tradition mostly. And so Marjorie, I guess talk about, as a business person, as someone who has built and grown businesses and brands, who has motivated people with inclusive leadership, what some of the biggest differences are between your experience as a success in the private sector and then what we have to encounter in Congress.
Well, I'll start it out with a little story from today. I talked earlier with Matt, and I said, Matt, were you on our GOP conference call?
No. I miss a lot of those. I figured, honestly, what we're hearing on a lot of those conference calls is what the lobbyists want. It's not what the people want. But.
No, it's more about messaging, but it's also about fundraising. And that's mostly all I heard on that call today. And I thought, you know, as a business owner, that's not how we do things. As a matter of fact, we meet every single morning. We organize our day. We talk about the jobs we have going. We talk about the problems that we need to solve. We talk about how to serve our customers better. We come up with solutions. We implement the things that will fix our problems, and we do a good job, and we make our customers happy. And so, as you can see, Matt's been there a little longer than me, and he learned to avoid wasting time when it's not solving problems and it's not doing anything for the American people. And that's what happens in Congress, unfortunately, everyone. And I have no problem being honest about that, because as you see, you're not stupid. You see the result of an ineffective federal government. The result is, what is it, massive debt? What are we, do you even know what we're at?
Oh, we're in the 20s trillions. I mean, it is the greatest intergenerational theft in all of human history. And it is so irresponsible because in a family budget, in a business, you have to make decisions. You cannot get everything you want all the time. And so in Washington, the way they do compromise is they figure out the things the Republicans want, they figure out the things the Democrats want, and then they just pay for all of it by printing more money, and it really does hollow out our nation to a great extent, and that's what we have to stand and fight against. But we need more fighters. I mean, Marjorie, I still remember when someone came to me and said, you've got to meet this candidate, this dynamic woman who is going to be like right there with us on the big fights. That was a guy you may have heard of named Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. Jim and I were walking the committee recently, and this couple holding Washington tourist maps and strapped down in fanny packs came up to me and said, that was Jim Jordan. I said, yeah. And they said, well, you're both on Fox News all the time. I said, yeah, we're on Fox News. You're both on the Judiciary Committee. Yes, that's our committee. You fought against the Russia hoax. Yes, we did. And they said, and then there was those weird false sex scandals. And I said, no, that was Jordan. But we do need more folks who know how to fight and serve. And it is a shame in the Congress how few actually do. Marjorie, what is it going to take? Speaker Jordan. Now that, by the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene for head of the Budget Committee. I would put Marjorie in charge of the budget. I mean, Abraham Lincoln is screaming because Marjorie Taylor Greene holds on to a penny so tight.
Hey, we gotta watch every penny, right? Well, I gotta tell you, this is someone I admire very much. Now, and I know you all do too, because like he mentioned, Matt's on the Judiciary Committee, and he fought alongside Jim Jordan and many others fighting that first impeachment. And so I am so grateful to Congressman Gaetz for that. And I know you all are too, fighting for our great president, President Trump.
I mean, Trump has to run again, right? This is too special. It's too fun. It's too good. Marjorie, why are the Democrats always having such a bad time? I mean, in theory, they control the government. They control the presidency. They got the House and the Senate, but they're always so angry. They're always wanting to be vicious and cancel people. Jokes aren't allowed to be funny anymore. People aren't allowed to be loose and having a good time. And so I guess, we need to show the people in the country that if they want to be happy and patriotic, this is the place they belong.
Absolutely. I mean, look at this. Democrats don't know how to have a good time like we do they? No. Well, Democrats are an interesting group, right? I mean, Governor Cuomo with I don't know how many women coming out and publicly saying sexual misconduct. But yet the media is just obsessed with my friend Matt, and there's not one woman saying a bad thing about him.
I wonder if there's time on Chris Cuomo's show tonight to go over some of the activities of his brother. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they should discuss that. Maybe you should interview some of the women. That would be good for your ratings. They might go up if you actually interviewed women that are saying that Governor Cuomo was really gross and nasty to them. I think you should do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the theory on Cuomo is like, that people stripped out of nursing homes, put into hospitals, infected with COVID, put back into the nursing homes, and then they covered up the records for the sake of politics. Meanwhile, Cuomo's out there cashing in on a $5 million book deal as his own people are perishing as a consequence of his decisions. One thing we know, a whole lot of good's not coming out of Washington, D.C. until we get Trump back in the White House. And so we need good policy coming out of the states. And I'd just like to give a little plug to my governor, Ron DeSantis of Florida, who actually believes in freedom. They love you, Ron.
They love him. Everybody loves him. I tell you what, this is a chance where Republican governors have the real ability to shine, right? Because this is where state rights are so important. So Republican governors can be heroes. This is when they can stop the appalling, overbearing, ridiculous rules coming from Joe Biden's federal government. So, this is when it's important. This is when it's really important. So make sure that you encourage Republican governors everywhere to fight for state rights. And there's more people in Georgia. There's people from all over here. We've even got one from Hawaii. Well, Matt, let me ask you a question, because we've been really worried about our military.
Yes.
And we are so concerned about how the Biden administration is basically gutting our military because they're trying to get rid of extremism in our military. So what do you think, what are we going to do about that?
The only extremism that the Biden Department of Defense is trying to get rid of is extreme patriotism, because they know that's a threat to them. The political left in this country, they've taken over almost every institution. The media, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Department of State, the Department of Labor, the EPA, and the one place where there was always a shining, bright, positive patriotism was our military. And so now they've really zeroed in on that. And when I spend time on military bases, which I do quite a bit in my district, I'm told by the commanding officers the number one threat to morale is not any bad thing happening on the base. It's not even a foreign policy decision. It's this notion that if you liked the wrong post, if you forwarded the wrong email, if you told the right joke or shared the wrong meme, that somehow you're going to be labeled, targeted, and disposed of. Well, I say we ditch the America Last Biden folks at the Pentagon, not the American patriots who want to put on the uniform and serve our great land. And we're going to have their back, by the way. That Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer, he is a patriot. He should have been promoted. His loss of command was retaliatory. And by the way, while Matthew Lohmeyer is correctly saying that Marxism is wrong and that critical race theory is divisive and damaging to the fighting forces of the military, you've got people like Bishop Garrison, a senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense, who literally came out and said before he got the appointment that there can be no nuance in judging Trump supporters. All Trump supporters have to be deemed racist and threats to national security. And this is the guy writing the protocols on how our men and women in uniform are going to be judged. That's nonsense. We're going to have their back. And we're going to have a military that actually focuses on winning, not wokeism.
Absolutely correct. So the critical race theory that teaches people, well, if you were born with white skin, you're inherently racist. I just don't think anybody stood in line and picked their skin color before they were born. Do you, Matt? Was that a thing? Did we get to pick? Did you get to pick your gender? Or is that something you can change your mind?
I have the sense, this like crazy theory that we have two genders. And you talk about the military.
Wait. There's only two?
Yeah, there's not the 38 or whatever. But
I thought it was binary and fluid and whatever you could. My Democrat colleague across the hall planted the trans flag because she was so into the Equality Act because her adult son says he's a woman. But anyways, she says that it can be whatever you want.
I love that no one wants to be your neighbor in Congress. Maybe you'll get a bigger office because they keep moving further and further away from Marjorie.
She's offended by my sign that says there's only two genders, male and female, and to trust the science.
Marjorie, your sign is one way.
Clearly.
The critical race theory is now a tool that the left is trying to impose in our military, in our schools, in our way of life. And for me, it's so troubling because I remember stories from my parents where they would talk about going to segregated schools and seeing people treated differently as a consequence of an immutable trait, their race. And then, as a millennial, I was raised to believe that we shouldn't treat people differently because of their race. We should treat everyone equally. We should extend love to everyone. We should want everyone to do well. And now it's like we're in this crazy cycle backwards where it's not enough to just say everyone should be respected and cared for. Now we have to say, well, if you're of a race that is not the race that's sort of in vogue, that all of a sudden you're irredeemable, that you have to disclaim your white privilege and your cisgender privilege. Forget that. One thing Trump proved is that a common slogan that brings us all together, make America great again, that can be a unifying, powerful, positive force, and we want to be that force for our country.
Absolutely. Well, it's just a shame that children are being taught these types of ridiculous lies. They're lies because what should be happening in our schools is children should be uplifted. They should be given confidence. They should never be told that something's wrong with them based on their skin color. And I'm so proud of our country that we overcame those type of racist issues, and they shouldn't exist anywhere.
Well, for us to truly fight against racism and inequality and mistreatment of anyone for any reason, this movement has to go on the road. You know, they thought you were done. They thought that after Trump returned to Florida, that this populism, that this America First fire and energy would just retreat. But Marjorie and I have been around this country. I've looked into the eyes of the cowboys in Wyoming who deserve a better congressperson than Liz Cheney. We've been dancing all night with villagers in Florida who want to pass along a country that is enhanced. We've even gone out to the beautiful painted deserts of Mesa, Arizona, and stood with patriots there. But you all know that this starts in Georgia. Georgia has to be the launch pad to make America red again, patriotic again, and to have elections we can trust.
You know what, Matt? I think we should talk about what we're doing next. Maybe we should leak it out. Do you think we should leak out where we're going next?
I'm not taking that joy from the birthday girl.
All right, so we're going to tell you guys where we're headed next. We get requests from all over the country. It's absolutely amazing. So we have decided we are coming to Dallas, Texas. You want to tell them the date? We're coming on June 18th. June 18th to Dallas,
We think we're going to
Texas.
find some America First patriots in Dallas, Texas, don't you think? Oh, remember when the Democrats told us we're going to lose? We can't possibly win Texas anymore because Trump turns off Hispanic voters. Well, it turns out the greatest gains that Trump made was with Hispanic voters. They said, oh, you know, Trump will never do better with the black vote. Trump got a higher percentage of the black vote than any Republican since Richard Nixon. This is the party for everyone.
That's right. This is the party for everyone, and America First policies are the policies that serve every single American. So we are going to be heading all over the country, Matt and I, and listen, here's the deal. We need you people with us because we have to spread this movement. After the election, it seemed like all hope was lost, but hope is not lost. And we're seeing it every single day in Washington. The Democrats are failing over and over and over again. And they're being exposed for their lies. And they're being exposed for the socialists they are. And as a matter of fact, their own voters aren't even happy because guess what? They own businesses too. And their children go to school too. And they have students at the University of Virginia that, you know what, everyone should be able to choose to get the vaccine or not. But right now, students are told that in the fall, that if they have not had the vaccine, then they can't return to campus. Can you imagine that? No, so we need everybody on board for America First policies, and we need help to go all over the country. We need you to share it on your social media. We need you to tell your friends. We need you to travel with us. And we need you all to invest in making America great again by keeping America First policies front and center for the Republican Party so they know exactly what's important to the American people.
Marjorie, thank you for inviting me to spend time with these great patriots on your birthday. We love you. We love the great people of Georgia. Let's go win. This is a movement for winners. Every one of you's a winner. You've got a winner as a congresswoman. This is our country. This is our movement. Let's go fight for.
Woo! Thank you, Georgia.
For the birthday girl.
Thanks for coming. You guys be safe on your way home. God bless you. God bless